First at 4, 6 people in San Antonio have now tested positive for the coronavirus, and officials say there could be more positive tests in the coming days. The CDC and city leaders just held a news conference. Eyewitness News reporter Jaleesa Irizarry joins us live from downtown now on what they had to say. Jaleesa?
Yeah, that's right. The latest positive cases are people who came here from the Diamond Princess cruise ship. The CDC says 5 of the people from that ship that arrived in San Antonio last week are in isolation at the Texas Center for Infectious Disease after testing positively for coronavirus. That 6th person is an evacuee who came to San Antonio with the first wave of quarantine passengers from Wuhan a few weeks ago. Officials say they have 4 others hospitalized with symptoms as they wait for their lab results and are preparing for potentially more positive cases.
Given the high-risk environment that the Diamond Princess cruise ship passengers came from, I would not be surprised if we have additional cases. That's why they are here. That's why they're in quarantine.
Now, as for those cruise ship evacuees currently at Lackland, their quarantine time is up next Monday. We're live in downtown San Antonio. Jaleesa Irizarry, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
Jaleesa, thank you.